Title: Eminem uncovers dark secrets of Diddy and Taylor Swift at the party of the year, *. The music world buzzed with anticipation as rumors spread about Diddy's exclusive, highly controversial Halloween party. Invitations were as rare as they were coveted, and the party's theme, Secrets Unveiled, was both intriguing and eerie, promising a night of unfiltered celebrity truths. Amid the glitz, glamour, and low-lit corridors of the grand estate, only one guest was there to dig beneath the surface: Eminem. Marshall Mathers, aka Eminem, was no stranger to Hollywood's drama, and this party, with its elusive guest list, presented an opportunity he couldn't resist. While he'd arrived under the radar, dressed as an unassuming guest, he'd already heard whispers of shocking revelations hidden within the mansion's walls. As the night wore on, the A-list attendees relaxed and let their guards down, believing they were among family. And that was when things started to get interesting. Taylor Swift, clad in a shimmering old Hollywood gown, was seen slipping into a private lounge with Diddy. Eminem watched as she nervously scanned the room, her normally collected composure slightly frayed. He could feel that something was off. Meanwhile, the background chatter hinted that Taylor and Diddy shared more than just industry ties. Rumor had it that she'd been leaning on Diddy for advice on handling the media frenzy around her romance with NFL star Travis Kelce. But was it just advice, or something more? Eminem kept his eyes peeled and ears open, listening in on snippets of hushed conversations. When he heard Diddy himself mention Taylor's name along with the word leverage, his interest peaked. He crept closer. As Diddy's entourage moved on, Eminem slipped into the lounge and found Taylor in what seemed like a heated discussion with Diddy. "You can't let this leak," Taylor pleaded. "You know the stakes. If this gets out, it could ruin everything." Diddy, calm and collected, simply raised an eyebrow. "I never promised anyone I'd keep secrets, Taylor. And your little fairy tale with Travis could be useful leverage in ways you haven't considered." Just then, Diddy's phone buzzed, and he excused himself to handle business. Taylor seemed visibly shaken, but she held her ground. Eminem approached her with a subtle nod, knowing his own reputation would make her wary. "Everything cool, Taylor?" he asked, his tone casual. She flashed him a tense smile. "Just business as usual," she replied, evasively. But Eminem wasn't fooled. He'd been around enough industry types to know when something big was brewing. Over the next hour, as he mingled, Eminem uncovered more whispers. Diddy had allegedly amassed personal information and secrets about various celebrities, using his parties as a front to glean details that could be used to his advantage. To Eminem, it was clear that Diddy wasn't just a party king, he was a puppet master. Later that night, Eminem observed Diddy sharing an intense, private conversation with one of his executives. Overhearing the words, "Swift," and "media storm," Eminem's instincts told him this was something Taylor didn't know about, something involving her relationship's potential to influence fans and boost media engagement. Eminem's mind raced. Diddy was playing both sides. Armed with what he'd heard, Eminem decided he'd keep these dark secrets in his back pocket. He wouldn't expose Diddy or Taylor yet. But one thing was certain. Diddy's parties were more than just star-studded events. They were playgrounds for control and manipulation. Leaving the party, Eminem knew he'd stumbled upon an untold chapter of Hollywood's shadowy side. And he intended to be ready when the time came to write it himself. Title: Eminem uncovers dark secrets at Diddy's controversial parties, *. It was the kind of event that no one dared to miss. Diddy's infamous parties had become the stuff of legend, an exclusive affair where the biggest names in music, fashion, and entertainment gathered. Lavish mansions, expensive champagne, and a guest list full of A-listers were just the beginning. But behind the glitter and glam, there were whispers. Whispers that things weren't as perfect as they seemed. Eminem, slim shady to the world, Marshall Mathers to those who knew him best, had always been a skeptic of the flashy lifestyle. He'd never been one to shy away from calling out the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it made people. So, when his good friend, Dr. Dre, invited him to one of Diddy's infamous parties, M wasn't exactly thrilled. He had his doubts, but Dre convinced him, claiming that it was the perfect time for a little bit of fun and distraction. But what M didn't know was that this party would change everything. The night started like any other. Neon lights buzzed above the sprawling estate as the elite arrived. Taylor Swift, who had recently been linked romantically to Diddy, was already there, chatting with various guests in the center of the room. The media was all over her, but no one was more curious about her than M. It wasn't her music or her public persona that caught his attention, it was the look in her eyes, a flicker of something deeper. She wasn't just smiling for the cameras, she was hiding something. As the night wore on, M found himself in a quiet corner of the mansion, nursing a drink and listening to the faint beat of the music echoing through the walls. That's when he overheard it, voices drifting from the study. Diddy and a group of his closest allies were talking in hushed tones, and M's ears perked up. What he heard next was chilling. Diddy had been involved in shady dealings for years, money laundering, illicit business moves, and a tangled web of manipulations behind the scenes. But that wasn't the worst part. What really shook M was the involvement of someone he never expected, Taylor Swift. From the fragments of the conversation, it became clear that her relationship with Diddy wasn't just a romance, it was part of something much darker. Diddy had been using Taylor Swift as a pawn in his game of power and control, drawing her into a world of secret deals and dangerous alliances. Taylor, in turn, had been under pressure to keep their connection under wraps, knowing that if the truth ever came out, it would destroy her carefully crafted image. But that wasn't all. Diddy's parties, once known for their luxury, had become a front for something much more sinister. These were not just gatherings of the rich and famous, they were gatherings of power, where business deals, blackmail, and even covert manipulation were carried out in the shadows. Taylor's presence at these parties wasn't just about romance, it was about securing her future in the industry, as her career was being orchestrated behind the scenes by Diddy's influence. M didn't know what to do with the information he had just stumbled upon. He wasn't sure if he should confront Diddy, tell Taylor, or keep his mouth shut and let it all blow over. But one thing was clear. There was more to the glittering world of fame than anyone knew. As M walked through the grand hall, he caught sight of Taylor again, her laughter echoing through the room. She seemed carefree, but the weight of the secrets she carried was obvious in her eyes. For a moment, their gazes locked. And in that moment, M knew. He had to get to the bottom of this, for her sake and for everyone else who had been dragged into Diddy's web. But would anyone believe him? Would they even care? The truth had always been elusive in Hollywood, and M was about to uncover a whole new side to the entertainment industry, one that no one was ready to face. The next morning, the party was over, but the rumors had just begun. Eminem, never one to keep quiet, dropped a verse that would shake the music world to its core. In his new track, Secrets in the Shadows, he exposed the dark underbelly of Diddy's empire, touching on everything from the shady dealings to the manipulative relationships that had been forged in the shadows. Taylor Swift, too, couldn't escape the fallout. The public was left wondering if her connection to Diddy was as innocent as it seemed, or if she had been caught in a web of power plays and deception. Her image, once untouchable, began to crack as whispers of her involvement spread like wildfire. And as for Diddy, his empire wobbled, rumors swirled, and his reputation took a hit. The secrets of his controversial parties were no longer confined to whispers. They were out in the open, and the truth was far darker than anyone had ever imagined. Title: Eminem uncovers dark secrets of Diddy and Taylor Swift at the Party of Shadows. It was a cold, late autumn evening when Eminem, the infamous rap god, received a mysterious invite. The envelope was made of sleek, black velvet, embossed with a symbol he instantly recognized, the logo of Diddy's elite underground parties, infamous for their decadence and secrecy. Despite the controversy surrounding Diddy's soirees, whispers of backroom deals and shady dealings, Eminem was intrigued. What could he uncover at a gathering that no one would dare to speak of openly? The invite had been cryptic. The truth awaits. Enter if you dare. Tonight, nothing is off limits. Curiosity piqued. M showed up, slipping into the darkened mansion where the party was in full swing. The place was alive with music, laughter, and the hum of secrets shared behind closed doors. The air reeked of mystery, and the guest list was a mix of celebrities, moguls, and shady figures who preferred their business to stay in the shadows. As he made his way through the crowd, Eminem noticed a familiar figure, Taylor Swift. She was seated with Diddy, their conversation appearing casual, but the way they leaned toward one another made Eminem uneasy. He had always been skeptical of Taylor's polished public persona, but tonight there was something different in her eyes, an intensity that he couldn't quite place. Diddy, ever the smooth talker, was regaling Taylor with tales of his empire, how he built it from the ground up, but beneath his bravado, Eminem saw a glimpse of something darker. A hint of guilt, a flicker of fear. As he eavesdropped from across the room, he heard Diddy mention something that made his blood run cold. "We can't keep covering this up," Diddy muttered to her, his voice low. "The world isn't ready for the truth about what we did." Taylor nodded, her expression unreadable, but her eyes betrayed a secret that chilled M to the bone. The conversation shifted, but Eminem was already processing the implications. What did Diddy and Taylor have to hide? And how deep did it go? Eminem's instincts told him to dig further. He spent the night mingling, keeping his distance but listening closely. As the evening wore on, the parties inside the mansion grew wilder, and the tension in the air became palpable. M finally overheard a conversation that seemed to hold the key to everything. A shadowy figure, who M immediately recognized as one of Diddy's trusted associates, was speaking to another guest in a hushed tone. "They didn't just manipulate the media, you know. They created it," the figure said, his voice thick with a New York accent. "Everything, the feud with Kanye, the media circus around Taylor's relationships, it was all planned. A narrative built to keep the public distracted while they, well, let's just say they're into darker things." M's heart raced. Diddy and Taylor Swift, partners in some sort of shadowy conspiracy? It didn't add up, but the clues were starting to form a picture. Later, as the night came to a close, Eminem slipped into a private room where he found Diddy and Taylor alone. The tension between them was palpable. Without missing a beat, M walked in, his expression unreadable. "So, what's the real story?" Eminem's voice was sharp, cutting through the silence. "What are you two hiding?" Taylor's icy stare met his, but she didn't flinch. Diddy, however, seemed momentarily rattled. "You don't know what you're messing with, M," he said, his voice losing its usual confidence. "Some things are better left in the dark." But Eminem wasn't backing down. He pressed further, and what he uncovered in that moment shook him to his core. Taylor had been part of an underground network, one that used the entertainment industry as a front for much more sinister operations. Diddy, always the puppet master, had orchestrated it all, manipulating the media, controlling the narrative, and, as the night's whispers hinted, even using their celebrity status to cover up darker dealings. Things that would ruin careers, ruin lives if exposed. Taylor, once the darling of country pop music, had become a pawn in Diddy's game, drawn into the fold after a private meeting that changed everything. Her relationships, her public image, everything was meticulously crafted, but there was a price. And the price was not just fame, but a much deeper web of lies and secrecy. As Eminem stood there, the weight of the truth crashing over him, he realized that he had stumbled upon something far bigger than he could have imagined. The stakes were higher than ever, and now that he knew, he couldn't just walk away. "You're not going to expose us," Taylor said, her voice colder than ice. "If you do, you won't survive it."